hey, what can we do? How can you help us? Will you help us? Will you talk to us?
You know, that's a great idea. And actually, critical access hospitals, which is what the hospital is here, they're expected to work together. They should be reaching out to other critical access hospitals. You know, you don't need to recreate the wheel. You reach out when somebody's doing something right. You say, hey, what are you guys doing? How are you handling this? And that's something that I did. As you know, as somebody that works in critical access or rural health, you have resources. Other hospitals, you reach out to them, and you know, other chief nursing officer questions, and you know, you create relationships. One thing that you can do to increase your knowledge, and I had posted it on the Pomeroy Info, was the Association of Washington Public Hospital Districts Legal Manual. It's 118 pages. It is an easy read. It's very easy to read. It's not a bunch of legal mumbo jumbo, but it tells you exactly, it tells you about public hospital districts and the board, what their responsibilities are. The board needs to read this. There is an organization that is also out there for hospital board members, specifically, that they can utilize. It provides resources and education for them. So if you are a hospital board member of a public hospital district, you have resources, and you should be educating yourself every year and taking you know, small little courses on the internet, going to seminars, going to networks. It is your responsibility as a board member to make sure you understand what your duties are as a board member. And so, anyways, those are just a couple of things that you know, they can do as well. And the community is educate yourself, so that if you do go to a board meeting, you've read this manual. It's an easy read, and you know, it'll make sense to you.
All right, so real quick, I had a phone call from Matt Hansen on Tuesday after this meeting was scheduled. And I had read Gary's post. He was offering to bring his sound equipment to Maple Hall or to the park, trying to get chairs and trying to accommodate this many people. I immediately offered up Maple Hall because I felt that this issue at the hospital is important to the community, and we are a community organization. The sound system, the chairs are here. Matt started pressing me on Monday or Tuesday, asking me what my expectations of the hospital are. I have no expectations of the hospital. I'm fortunate, I'm young, I haven't had to use the hospital, but I have parents that are pushing 70 years old. I'm hoping that hospital's there for them at some point. I don't want to be traveling. Like Lynn's first question, or when she came in the door, was what's going to happen to her mom if this place closes. She doesn't want to go to Lewiston 2 days a week. Anyway, Matt was really wanting me to give out an expectation, which I didn't really have. I just said it was an important issue to the community. And so I appreciate everybody coming here on behalf of the Spinners. But one thing, after he continued to talk, he asked me he asked me to be totally honest with him. And I said, okay, I'll be totally honest. I personally don't feel your levy in November, or your lid lift, as it's called, has a prayer of passing. The community is upset. You sat in front of 100+ angry people in July, and it hasn't gotten any better. I went on to tell him my personal belief that the only way the hospital would continue to get support would be if the board relieved the CEO of her current duties, and if every one of our current board members stepped down for a fresh start. He obviously countered with, I don't think that would be in the best interest of the hospital. And I said, I didn't feel like it could get any worse. I said, I think that this community, and this goes back, I'm saying this now because it goes back to Butch's question. I countered that I feel like Garfield County could reach out to Colfax, Columbia County, Tri-State, and St. Joe's. Ask if we could borrow a board member to appoint some new people. Let's start over fresh, let's get some new blood, let's try to turn this around. And if it does, the history is here. The community will support the hospital, but I think everybody's here because they're fed up. So I'm going to pass it on.
One thing everybody needs to understand is we have a board that has no healthcare experience running a healthcare facility. You know, Matt Hansen tried to run it like a grass seed company. It's a completely different ballgame. Another thing I want to encourage everyone, as Ginger said, if you're not on Facebook, get on Facebook. If you don't like the hospital's Facebook page, like it. If you're not on Pomeroy Info, get on it. When the hospital announced today that we were not renewing our contracts, people started asking questions on Facebook, wanting to know what was going on, and the hospital deleted the entire post. Once again, folks, that should speak volumes to everybody.
Okay, I have one question and a comment. So I wondered, are there any board members here tonight? Okay, good, excellent, okay.
In case no one knows me, I've lived in the community for 14 years, and I'm Cindy Wolf. There, that's enough.
We can't hear you, Cindy.
You gotta use it.
Hi, I'm Cindy Wolf. A lot of you apparently haven't met me, and so it's nice to meet some new people tonight. I've lived in the community for 14 years. I have had experience in the healthcare business. I worked for Regents for almost 15 years in the Cambria, through Idaho, Washington, Oregon, and Utah. So I do have an understanding of how medicine works. And I thought perhaps I could be useful to the community when I volunteered to come on the board and was appointed to the board. I welcome people having conversations with people instead of perhaps people venting out on Facebook. We have invited community members to attend our meetings. We had an open house at the hospital for the first time in I don't know how many years. So the whole community could meet the providers, could meet the new CEO, look through the facility, meet the other employees. Not very many people showed up, and it was scheduled from 3 to 7 p.m. So anyway, I'm anxious to meet with people. I do not want to answer questions tonight as far as I'm not speaking as the board. I'm speaking as a community member.
As a community member, are you satisfied with the current CEO?
Yes.
I am going to make one statement. I appreciate you getting up and saying that. And I'd appreciate each and every one of you respecting her getting up and know, oh, that is not here what I'm after. And if we're going to start that, we're going to cut this meeting. We're here to do things to help the community. I appreciate you. Thank you for standing up and introducing yourself. I don't want to hear that again. If another board member gets up, I don't want to hear, oh. At least they're here, folks. So, and like I said, we've got to start somewhere at this, as a community. Let's work as a community, and let's not do things like that, please. I know we're disappointed, but we don't have to do about it personally. We are all family here. We all are brothers, sisters in this community, moms, dads, cousins. So let's remember that. We can be disappointed, but we don't have to pull that kind of nonsense. Go ahead.
Quick question. In one of Ginger's emails, I believe she pointed out that Brenda's contract was only for 2 months and that it was never renewed. It was a temporary contract.
Penny?
Oh, okay. I was thinking it was Brenda's. I'm sorry. I was like, why is she still here? But I also want to say something. I've lived in the area for 3 years. I chose it as a retirement place. I am not related to anybody. I didn't know anybody. It's been a very nice community. But be careful about and I agree with you about keeping things civil, but be careful about not wanting to do anything because it might hurt so-and-so's brother-in-law's cousin's nieces.
Stepping on toes.
Yeah.
So, I think I understand that the board is the people that actually hire the CEO. Is that correct? So they hire her and oversee her, so it would be up to the board to give, I'm just trying to figure out the whole chain of command. So it would be up to the board to get rid of that person. Okay. That was just my only question.
Gary?
Yes.
May I make a suggestion when people speak that they give their names, so if we need to follow up?
Oh, yeah.
If they feel comfortable.
Yeah, if you should feel comfortable. We're here for this. If you want to stand up and say a statement, give your name so people can she can take your name down and she needs to follow up and visit with you. There's a start of how to start helping each other.
Hey, my name. The meeting at the senior center was not a board's meeting. They came in and took it over. It was a meeting supposed to be like this meeting. We requested that one board member be there. We wound up with the whole board and Brenda there. So.
Hi, my name is Patty Weaver. We've been here 20-some years. I'm a registered nurse. I have worked at the hospitals and clinics, and I've been in long-term care leadership as a quality assurance nurse for years. I like the idea, Gary, of having a committee that can be a liaison with the board. My question is, how would we be able to talk to them if there were 4 or 5 or 6 of us that wanted to present things to the board? Do we feel like they'd be open to meeting with the committee to bring specific concerns from the community to them?
Well, that's why we're here, to figure out some of these things. You know, if we have a few people that have educated themselves somewhat, that would listen to the concerns of the citizens, and if we would talk to the board at a board meeting and say, is this acceptable? Would you listen to us and voice our concerns? And then once they go to, for instance, Brenda, and say, these are the concerns of the community, and see what, that's a great idea. I don't know how we would elect to, but it would be somebody that would have to be willing to take the time.
Right, it would save the board's time if we could, succinctly present those concerns of the community, and I would be willing to serve on that committee.
All right, I appreciate that. And that's what we got to start with.
Here tonight, if somebody's going to be on the board, then certainly the current CEO should be let go tomorrow. I mean, if she is not serving her purpose and not helping the district, I don't know why they continue to employ her. And certainly at this time, they know what's going on.
The board at the monthly board meeting, and people also need to remember that manual I told you about explains the board meeting. And I believe, I'm not 100% positive, but I believe that anytime more than 3 board members get together anywhere and start discussing hospital business, it becomes a board meeting. So no matter where they go, if they have 3 of them and they start discussing hospital business, it becomes a board meeting. So that's just something to keep in mind.
You got the mic.
All right. My name's Ray Cardwell.
Yeah, it's on. Go right. Pull it like this and it'll go right into your mouth. You got it.
Okay. Anyway, I know a lot of you guys. Actually, I'm a 5th generation person in Garfield County. Although I haven't actually lived in Ukiah. This surprises me. I've lived here for 50 years, but yet I never left. I love the county, and I love all you guys. And one of the things, my thing is, I'm a doctor. I'm a retired pediatrician. I'm an MD. And so I've had about 50 years experience in medicine, and I've dealt with health contracts that these guys are talking about. I've had some leadership. I was president of my clinic, which is 5 doctors and about 20 employees. I was the chief of pediatric services when I was in the Navy, but also at Stevens Hospital in Edmonds for about 10 years. So, you know, and was on the executive committee of the hospital. So, you know, I kind of have familiarity with this, so I'm here to help you. And what I think we all want, we want to have a quality healthcare system in our county that is not too expensive and sustainable. That's what we want, whatever that is. And that's what I'm for, and I'm glad to work with the people who spoke tonight, but other people too. I don't live here, like I say, but I came over from Seattle today just for this meeting. That's why I'm here. So, part of, you know, we want to all, you know, I'm an old person, you know, we all get that way, I guess. But, you know, we all want to have a good quality of life as we get older. And I was, since I'm in my family kind of the healthcare person, I always had charge of my grandparents' health and my parents' health. So, you know, I dealt with them, and so the things that were good that they did and stuff, I'd like to try to help you guys acquire the same thing. My parents both died in their 90s. My dad was almost 100. So my grandfather was 95. So, you know, there's some things that I can impart to you that will prolong your life and your health. So I'd like to work on some of those things with you. If we improve it, one of the holy grail of our community is to improve our economy. And we got to get outside money coming in. We have some ideas. We're working on it. Also, if we recruit people into the community, though, one thing new people want to know when they come into a community is what's the health care? We have good health care. The other thing is, what about our schools? We have good schools. And so I'm also working with a school, because that's my deal. I'm a pediatrician. I got my little life skill and all that. I do drugs. That's my favorite thing. So I have been working with a school already. So anyway, I'm just here. My name's Ray Cardwell. If you guys have any questions for me, if you'd like to be involved with me, we'll work at all this together. But I think we can come up with something good. One thing why I really believe in Pomeroy is we've always had a really good base of, our core base is really good families. We've always had really good families. So we have that to build on. And so I think we can do it all well and work together.